And I said, all right, what am I supposed to do? So you will start seeing division. And in a way, someone said to me very astutely that he believed that they want the story of 9/11 to get out so that they can create a controlled demolition of America. Families that divide on this issue, neighborhoods that argue and break apart, communities, cities, countries, because there will be those who say, no, it's just not possible, because in their belief system, they don't want it to be possible. So, yes.
First, I've got a million questions, but I just want to thank you for having made this film and bringing it here and being here yourself. It's very important. Has this film been shown, or have you been in touch with any of the Jersey girls, the women whose husbands were lost in the Trade Center and who demanded that there be an inquiry? Do you have any contact with them? Have you shown this film in a place where any of them might have seen it, or?
Well, the film has been shown in New York by the 9/11 Truth Group, and I know that the Jersey girls were in close communication and worked with the people who made Press for Truth, 9/11 Press for Truth. But being that I'm on the West Coast and that movie was made on the East Coast, I believe, it was harder for me to really connect with the New York group until this past fall, when I made 2 or 3 trips there and spoke. We did show 9/11 Mysteries in Union Square, which is 14th Street. There's a big subway station. It's a gigantic city block. I mean, it is grotesquely gargantuan. And we showed it at night. It cost an awful lot of money to rent the equipment. $4,000 for the sound system and the projector, because the projector had to be 10,000 lumens. It had to fight the bright lights of Filene's basement and all the city stores and restaurants. And the sound system, what is it called? The park there, Union Square Park, is leafy trees. There was a section where we showed the movie in the southwest corner, and I have to tell you, the 9/11 Truth Group had seen this movie I don't know how many times, but the public hadn't. People came out of the subway, they heard the music, they heard my voice, which started to sound quite amazing, floating over the trees, and they saw the film and they stopped. There were 600 to 700 people by the end of the evening gathered around this screen, which was built on a scaffold, enormous, windproof, weatherproof, and they were crying, and their jaws were to the ground. And we gave out, I contributed 500 free DVDs. We just gave them out. And then we did it 1 month later. So I wish that it could be possible for a movie like this to be screened for the public. But again, one of the realities of the 9/11 movement is that it's grassroots. It consists of all kinds of, it's a motley crew in some ways who are trying to work by ingenuity. They're not corporate funded, and we have to find ways to be creative. And $4,000 for an outdoor screening is enormous. So that can't be done very often unless we figure out how to do it better. The movie is going to television. I've had one inquiry from a PBS station in Reno, which just floored me, because first I thought it was public access, and they said, no, this is real television. So, no, commercial, I mean, really, think about it. PBS. 9/11 Mysteries showing on PBS? I don't know. I haven't gotten a response. So, yes.
Sofia, I'm Barry Ball from the 9/11 Truth Alliance here in Portland. We've been doing a serious look at the psychology. You mentioned psychology a minute ago. The psychology of rejection. And I heard you also speak a little bit out in the hallway about what kind of rejection, because there are different levels of rejection where people deny or they just stick their head in the sand. But there's another level where people actually attack you for what you're doing. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your experience in San Diego, about how that seems to be evolving down there. Are there some pretty consistent, sort of systematic, systemic ways that you're being attacked there?
Well, I wasn't going to go into that
Oh.
publicly, but yes, it's very unfortunate, but I am accused of being in it for the money, and also I've heard, why do we need to include Sofia? All she did was make a movie. So that's all I'll say. But I don't know really if this is just the nature of people, that we're all in the sandbox and we're not sharing our toys, even when our toy is a universal message. I don't know. I'm not an angel myself, but I'm very happy to be here and a guest, invited, and welcome. I don't have such an easy time in my own town. So yes.
I'm Joyce Young. I live here in Portland. I'm a naturopathic physician. I came here 10 years ago to return to medical school and get a medical degree to continue my study of environmental medicine. What are all the 100,000 chemicals in air, water, food, and consumer products doing to folks? And I know quite a bit about the 9/11 truth. And unfortunately, this is why I came back to get a medical degree. I was a research scientist before my children were born. But this really goes hand in hand with layer after layer after layer of cover-up on all parts of society. This whole thing about the chemtrails, and people here in Portland are wicked sick with all the respiratory stuff, all the weather modification, all the pharmaceutical companies, all the big multinational chemical corporations that are poisoning everybody. It's the reason I just spent 6 years in medical school, and it's all some kind of insidious cover-up that is on some kind of a scale that people don't even want to hear what I'm talking about in terms of chemical exposure and air, water, food, and consumer products. What happened to the dust there is just, hey, it's the same thing that happened down in San Diego in the firestorms down there. You don't have to worry about breathing all that dust. You don't have to worry about any of this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, and people uniformly, it's like, don't tell me anymore. It's too scary. Don't tell me anymore.
Right. People are, I say, you know how there's that sort of cartoon image of caveman dragging his wife around by her hair? Right? We're being dragged around by our innocence and by our trust. And when I give the second presentation, after we take a little break, I want to get into some of that. I was really a neophyte. I was someone who spurned politics. I was asked in the 6th grade to bring an article from the newspaper for current events in my social studies class. And do you know what article I picked? It was this big. It was about a train wreck in Yugoslavia. And I was told by my teacher, that is not a current event. And when 9/11 Mysteries opened in 2006 in Los Angeles, she came. And so I was happy that I had come so far from my little half-inch article. I was trying to get away from politics. I thought, a train wreck, it was in the paper. It was a current event, but not by her definition. But then I made this movie, so I think that I